Good morning. Thanks for joining me today. It's Christine Crutcher from Create with Christine. This week I am featuring the August 2022 paper pumpkin kit called Sweet Sunflowers. So here is the pretty box that came in the mail. Mine's in pretty good condition still, a little bit crunched up, but in the back actually a little bit crunched up, but not too bad. It's been worse. So I have 3 alternative cards for you today. So I just want to take a minute or two to talk about the kit and some of the things in the kit, and I'll give some tips as I go. So you get supplies for 9 cards, and Stampin' Up! Gives you this cute instruction sheet, and I also give you a video. And what I love on the back is they give you all the coordinating colors. There's 8 coordinating colors at the bottom, and then a couple alternative ideas. So super fun. This month there was a free gift, some honeycomb hive looking gold sheets, and I'm going to use that on one of the cards. So this kind of gives you an idea that you can cut it apart and use the inside. You can also use the outside too. You could use both pieces. And I'll talk about this at the end. But this kit really blew me away because the card bases that came in it are printed and they look like designer series paper. So what I ended up doing, so let me show you what I'm talking about. These are the card bases. This is like one card base. So I cut these apart and used them for 2 separate cards. And then this one I used the yellow flowers. So super, super cool. Here are the gold kind of hive embossing, gold, what would I want to call these things? These gold little honeycomb hive pieces. I'm going to use almost all the stamps. Oh, these little bees keep going everywhere, which is giving me PTSD. I had a bee experience as a 20-something, and let's just say it still haunts me to this day, 20-something years later. So here's the stamps, and I'm going to use almost all of them. But you get a huge sunflower, some greenery, some sentiments, a couple little bees. And you get these cute, cool vellum honeycombs. And hey, good morning, Anne-Marie. Thanks for popping on this morning. You get die-cut labels. I'm going to use a bunch of these. And then you get this die-cut sheet, which I have to be very careful because they're all popping out. So I recommend popping these out and putting them in a clear envelope. I'm not going to use anything here except for the bees on my cards. And you get 2 mini ink spots with this kit. And I'm only going to use one color, but you got a soft suede and a crushed curry. So let's look at my cards really quick. I'm going to point my camera down. So here's card 1. So I'm going to assume that you have some cardstock in your stash and a basic toolkit, and I'm going to show you all the other things I added on. So I'm going to point my camera down and let's jump right in with card number 1. Okay, so I hope you're having a great week. I can't believe it's pretty much the end of summer, which is like really scary. Okay, this is not the best view, so let me try to see if I can get this to a better angle. Bear with me for a minute. Whoop. Whoop. Okay, I think that's pretty good right there. So I'm going to bring over my Stampin' Pierce mat because with paper pumpkin, all the stamps are photopolymer, so they're see-through, so you can see exactly where you're going. And we are just going to jump right in with card number 1. And I forgot to show the envelopes. The envelopes that came in this kit are like designer series paper. They're fully covered with a printed design on the front and the back. So super, super pretty. I'm sure some people will be cutting these apart to use them. So card number 1 is Melon Mambo cardstock. So what I did is I grabbed some Melon Mambo cardstock from my stash, and I just did a card base 5.5 by 8.5, scored in half at 4 1/4. Okay, so because I cut the card bases apart, because there's this super pretty watercolored on one side, and I wanted to use this as more of like my designer series paper. So I have all my pieces in here, my envelope. Yeah, that's everything with this card. This card is super easy. I'm just going to do a bunch of the stamping, and I'm actually going to use 4 different stamps. So let's start with the sunflower. I am using crushed curry. I'm going to use my full ink pad. So you get crushed curry in this kit. And I kind of want the yellow design at the top, and I'm going to do my sunflower and crushed curry. Let me try to make sure you can see this okay. Sorry, I had to adjust a couple times today, so I'm trying to kind of get my camera where I want it. So I think that's pretty good. Okay, so let's just do the sunflower. And while I have the crushed curry, I'm going to do a little bee. And you can kind of have him any way you want. And then I'm going to move over to the Melon Mambo for this card. And I'm going to do Melon Mambo in the center of the sunflower. And then I'm going to do Melon Mambo on the label for the sentiment. So let's just grab, I know you're all probably like, she's doing Melon Mambo. So this kind of gives it a super fun look, and you could stamp off. I actually stamped off in my original so you can see that, so it matches kind of the watercolored look. So I forgot that I did that, so I just went full strength. It still looks super pretty. And then let's get the banner, and I'm just going to do this on top here. Be very careful. I'm doing the hello on the banner in Melon Mambo ink. Okay, so now I'm just ready to adhere all my pieces. I added 2 things to all these cards. I think they're on all 3. Yeah, they're on all 3. So when I opened my kit and saw my pieces, I decided to add the gold shimmer ribbon from, I think this one's from the annual catalog. I can check on that and let you know. But all the products I used will be listed below when I finish this video. So I added in some ribbon, and I added in some festive pearls. And I know the festive pearls are on back order. I'm just putting a couple glue dots to my ribbon. And I'm just going to put this down on one side. I'm going to pop my sentiment up on dimensionals. Oh, and I forgot, I Wink-a-Stella'd the little bumblebee, so let's do that really quick. So I'm assuming that you have like some basic tools such as adhesives. I consider Wink-a-Stella an essential tool. So I'm just going to add some Wink to the bumblebee. It's super pretty in person. Let's see if I can try to get a close-up. That's kind of going there. So, well, there we go. That's a lot better. Okay. And then I'm just going to go to my Melon Mambo card base here. So, if you subscribe to Paper Pumpkin with me, I'm going to send you a PDF tutorial of all 3 of these projects with all the measurements. So one of the perks of purchasing Paper Pumpkin from me is my subscribers get all my PDF tutorials every month. I just started this, so I'm getting a pretty good response so far. And I'm doing lives every 4th Sunday of the month at 10 a.m. Eastern. And then I put it to my YouTube channel, so if that time is not good for you, you can always watch the replay on YouTube at Create with Christine. So I'm just going to put a couple dimensionals here. I just cut some of the ends apart. This kit, I think it gave you mini dimensionals, and I like the larger ones here. So just going to put that like so, and then I'm going to add 2 little gold dots, and this card is done. So we're starting very simple. We'll go up, we'll advance in as we go. So, and you could add some Wink of Stella to the center of the flower, sunflower if you want. So, card number 1. Let's move on to card number 2. Let me get all my pieces. For this one, I am doing a crushed curry card base. So 4 1/4 by 11, scored in half at 5 1/2. I have all my pieces inside here. So we're just going to do some stamping on the label that came in the paper pumpkin kit. And make sure you don't lose that little bee that's there. They seem to be wanting to travel all over my craft table today. So you can do the yellow kind of at the top on this label, or you can do however you want. I am going to stamp in Mossy Meadow, and I'm going to tell you, as I opened this ink pad this week, and it looks terrible. And I actually placed an order the other day, so I need a new Mossy Meadow ink pad. So this is pretty typical of red ink pads with Stampin' Up. They get something called the creeping crud, and this one certainly kind of has it. So I probably need to figure out when I got this. I think I've had it for a little bit. So at some point, sometimes some of your ink pads do kind of get cruddy like this, but it didn't stamp. It's not stamping horribly, so I'm still using it. I'm going to use it on one more. The last card, number 3. So I just did the sentiment on this little label from the kit. And then we're just going to put all these pieces together for this one. So again, I cut the card base down, one of the card bases down because it had this gorgeous, gorgeous florals. And I just had to use this as designer series paper. So we're going to get this on here with a little bit of liquid glue, and I'm not sure which is my favorite. I like all of these for different reasons. This one, I think it's just the colors. I love the yellow and the purple together. So it's Blackberry Bliss and Crushed Curry. For the Stampin' Up colors. And let's see, I'm going to do the ribbon first. So let me just cut the ends pretty. And you can kind of sort of lay out your pieces before you commit. I didn't want to cover up everything, but you know, that's actually pretty good right there. So I'm just going to commit and go there with a couple mini glue dots. I'm going to cover up. I just usually put a couple glue dots in like the center because I'm going to cover up with some of my other pieces. So maybe about so. It might not be perfect to where I just had it, but I'm going to put the ribbon down first. Then I'm going to put this cool little banner that came in the kit that's blackberry. There's a color I don't use too much. I really need to use that more. It's so pretty. And then I'm going to put this vellum honeycomb. And these things, I'm going to do a glue dot. Some of the other honeycomb, I'm going to use the gold one. I recommend liquid glue for that one. Okay, so I just put that on as at an angle, and then you can put the sentiment, the label on. So I'm going to put this on with Seal Plus. I think I used dimensionals before, but Seal is really good for layering over all these pieces, and it's really sticky. So I want it to stay. Okay, and then, oops, I forgot about my bee. So here's my little bee. I'm going to put him up top near one of the blackberry flowers. So, I don't know, you can kind of do whatever floats your boat. And then I just put 3 of the gold pearls. So you got a theme going on with the gold ribbon and any gold ribbon would work. So don't feel that you have to use the same ribbon that I'm using and the same festive pearls. So whatever you have in your stash. I'm going to do a couple of the gold festive pearls up here. I think unfortunately these things are on back order until September at some point, so middle of September. So there's card number 2. Super fun. And let's move on to the last card for this morning, and then I'll have a couple announcements at the end. So card number 3, I decided to use one of the printed cards in the kit. So I picked the Mossy Meadow one, and all my pieces are inside here. So let me grab these all out of here. So what we are going to do, let's do our stamping first to get that out of the way. So I brought in the Stampin' Cut and Emboss machine on this one, and I cut just a basic white label from the Scalloped Contours dies. So we're going to stamp a sentiment on here in our Mossy Meadow ink pad. And this one's wishing you so much happiness. And to also tell you, I actually used this stamp and I actually used this kit for my Casing Tuesday card for this week. So this Tuesday, the 30th, I'll have a card on my blog at christinestamps.blogspot.com using this kit for Casing Tuesday. So every Tuesday, there'll be a card on my blog, and we case. And if you don't know what case is, it's copy and share everything. So pretty much we pick a card from the catalog and we all use that as a sketch. And you can either copy the card exactly or use it as inspiration to make a card with that same sketch. So it's super fun to see all the different cards with the same sketch. Okay, so let's bring over my other pieces so I don't lose anything here. So I also die cut with the Scallop Contours dies in my Stampin' Cut and Emboss machine one of the pretty card fronts. So this was the same one that was attached to the one that just had the Crushed Curry and Melon Mambo watercoloring. So this was on the other side of that card. So it was so pretty. I cut it apart, die cut it. If you don't have this die, you could totally use a different die set. The stitched rectangles. If you don't own a die cutting machine, oh my god, you should probably buy one this week because you can get one for $99 plus tax right now. So, but you can also just use a rectangle. So here's the card base from the kit, the Mossy Meadow kind of watercolored one. And I am going to just very carefully put the honeycomb gold piece on with some liquid glue. So I just did it at an angle. I cut it at an angle in half. But in the sample that you got in the kit, it does show you that you can totally cut it apart and use the inside. And I put this down like so. And then I'm just going to put my other pieces. I did a ribbon, a special thing for the ribbon for this card today. So the ribbon was a little bit different. So let me show you how I did that. It's just going to take a minute or two. So just with my fingernail, I just roughed up the edges and kind of frayed them and distressed them. And if you get, and you could pull a little bit too, if you get a whole bunch of pieces that are kind of like long and start hanging out, you can cut them off too. So I just distressed both sides with my fingernail and just gave it a little bit of a pull. It just gives it a different look. And like if you get these long things, you can either pull them and give them a trim. Okay, so once you get it how you want it, I'm just going to put the ribbon down on one side and my sentiment's going to go over it like that. So maybe put my ribbon about there. I like to kind of eyeball. If you follow me and you see my videos, you'll see that I like to eyeball before I kind of commit to where I'm going to go with all my pieces. And then with my sentiment, I'm going to put on with Seal Plus. I like Seal Plus for all my white and my vanilla so it doesn't show any of the adhesive through. And I have a little bumblebee. I'm going to put him up on one of these little, I think that it's Poppy Parade flowers. Whoops, I probably put a little bit too much ink, but whichever one you pick. And then I just did one of the gold pearls down after happiness, down in the corner. You could do, I'm going to go here actually this time. So just to bring over the gold, I like threes. So you got the gold in the honeycomb, the gold in the ribbon, and then the gold in the little pearl. So those are the 3 cards for today. So let's recap really quick. Here's card 3. We'll go backwards. Here was card 2. And here was card 1. Let me know if you have a favorite of the 3. And just a couple announcements before I sign off for today. Well, celebration ends this Wednesday, August 31st, 2022. So if you place an order over $50, don't forget to choose your free item. And then over 50, if you spend over 50, there are different free items for over $50 levels and up. You can also prepay for Paper Pumpkin. Let me show you the future kits. The September kit is going to be Halloween themed, and they did tell us it's going to be treat boxes. And then they did tell us that I'm not sure which is which here, but for October and November, they're going to be more like Christmas holiday themed kits. So for the next 3 months, they kind of gave us a sneak peek of what's to come. So let me... Oh, and there's 2 ways to subscribe. So if you're not a current subscriber, you can pay monthly. And in the United States, it's $23.50 per month. And you get the kit to your mailbox from the United States Postal Service every month. And again, you get your little mini inks, you get a stamp set every month, and you get all the pieces, you know, all the little die cuts and all the pieces. So all you have to do is sit down and assemble. So it's pretty awesome. And if you prepay, you can prepay for 1, 3, 6, or 12 months. And I did want to mention, because if you do prepay this week by August 31st, and if you do over at 3 months, it's $67.50. So you would be able to get a $50 celebration item. If you did the 6 months, it's $122.50. So you'd be able to either get 2 of the $50 celebrations or 1 $100 celebration free item. And then the 12 months is $235. So you'd be able to either get 4 $50s free items or 2 $100 free items. So I wanted to mention that before I sign off. And I'm going to actually bring the camera back up at my face just to sign off for the week. So have a great week, everybody. I also wanted to say is that my summer promotion is coming to an end this week, August 31st, 2022. So next week, when I do my live next Sunday at 10 a.m., I'm going to be pulling some gift certificates for people. So if you placed an order over $30 from me, and you still have through Wednesday to get your name in the bucket. So if you came to an event online or in person, and if you place orders over 30 during the last 3 months, your name is going to be in that bucket to win a gift certificate. And I will be contacting you next weekend, which is Labor Day weekend. I will give you until September 30th, 2022 to redeem, but you have to redeem by that date. So the winners will get all the details. And that's it for this week. Have a great week. Happy end of summer. And thank you for watching, whether you're here live or catching the replay. Have a great week.